Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Daisy Regrowth Project. The woodlands are home to lots of deer in the United Kingdom. The fallow deer, the roe deer and the Reeves muntjac are the most widespread. And they're such elegant, beautiful creatures, and somebody suggested from one of the groups that I talked to that we have some in our woodlands. Let's have a little look at some of those ones that I've mentioned. This is the roe deer. The roe deer is one of the truly native deer of the British Isles. The other native deer to the British Isles is the red deer. And the roe deer are strongly associated with woodlands. This is the muntjac deer, a small and sort of stocky species of deer that originally came from China. They were brought over about 100 years ago to Woburn Park in Bedfordshire, but they escaped, and now their numbers are really increasing and they're quite widespread in Britain. Oh, and this is my favourite, the fallow deer. Because they look a little bit, the babies look like Bambi. They were brought to Britain from the Mediterranean during the Roman period, so they've been here for hundreds of years. And they love the woodlands too, but they love eating grasses. Do you know that Britain is experiencing what is known as a deer population explosion? There are already around 2 million deer living in the United Kingdom, and that's the most recorded for about 1,000 years. And it's because they haven't got any natural predators. That means that there isn't a bigger animal up the food chain that keeps their numbers down. And they're protected from being hunted, and we're not allowed to treat them as pests, so their numbers are growing. We don't see them very much, do we? I mean, I never see them. I go out walking in the woodlands a lot with my dogs, but I never see them. But I think that's because they're very shy creatures. I think we will have a nice herd of deer in our virtual woodland, and I think we're going to make them wear some PPE. That's an abbreviation that we hear a lot of these days, don't we? It's of course personal protective equipment, and that includes our face masks that we need to wear to protect ourselves these days. And we must wear them when we're in public spaces like the shops. And I'm really getting used to wearing one, actually. I don't know about you, but it's becoming a little bit normal. I'm used to seeing people with their face masks on. So let's go and make some face masks for our herd of deer. You will need 2 pieces of A4 paper and your face mask. You might not have a flat one, you might have a shaped one, and if you do, you'll have to fiddle a little bit more, so the flat ones are easier. But you will also need scissors, pen, sellotape and some felt tip pens if you have them, or crayons. So let's start with one of the pieces of paper and your face mask you will need. I'm going to put it on the bottom edge of the paper, and we are going to just mark where the ends come to, not the loops for the ears, the ends of the actual face mask. Now if you've got a shaped one, you are going to have to try and measure the actual shape of your face mask. So I'm just marking out the ends, where the ends go, and you will have to, if you've got a shaped one, kind of bend the paper around from end to end and mark it that way. You just need to know where the ends come to. And then if you get your ruler and measure between the two marks and find the middle. Okay. And then take your ruler again, and from that middle mark, you're going to just mark the top edge of the paper. There it is. And then I would like you to, you see these 3 marks are your most important ones. I want you to take 2 fingers from the top edge of that paper and mark it just below that middle point. And that will be the top of your deer's head. Okay, and I want you to find the middle of the paper and just take a line from that those first marks that you made, sort of halfway up the paper. Just halfway up, no further. So you've got 2 lines coming up like that. And then from that point that you made of the top of his head, I want you to do a curved line down to that line. And another curved line down to there. That head's a little bit pointed, so you could round it off a little bit. I don't mind it. So I'm going to draw his ears now, and I want you to take his ears, they're very big, right up to the corner of the paper like this. One curved line going one way and another curved line going the other. Okay. One curved line and then another coming down. Okay. So that's his ears. Nice big ears the deer have got. Now, from the bottom of his ears, I want you to draw a curved line, curve it round and then take it down. Curve it round and take it down. This is the deer's kind of nose, and it tells you where to put his eyes. It's a kind of strong marking on the deer. Now find something round, maybe a 10p piece or something a little bit bigger than a 10p piece. A 10p piece will do it. But I've got a little egg cup, and just in those, in that kind of eye socket shape that you've made, draw your eyes. Now these have got to, we're going to cut these out because we're making a mask, and so they need to be about right for your eyes, but that should do mine anyway, and I'm sure they would do yours. Okay, now we're going to cut it out very, very carefully, so be careful of his ears, and just completely cut out the whole mask. I might round off that little pointy bit on his head, just round it off a little bit, not a lot. I did make it a bit too pointed. There. And then you will need to cut out his eyes too. A bit tricky to get your scissors in to begin with, so be careful. If you need help, perhaps you could ask your carer or your mum, and carefully cut out the eyes. See how I'm turning the mask so that I can cut it properly. There, done. There we go, I've cut that out. I've just measured that to my eyes and they were fine. Now, for a few more markings, do another ear shape inside the ear, just like that. Petal shape. And we're going to have down his nose area some lovely markings. Round circles all the way down that nose area from the top of his head. And now to shape his eyes a little bit better and make them quite deer shaped, I'm just going to do like a triangle at the corner of his eyes. Okay, and give him or her some eyelashes. Deer normally have beautiful eyelashes. There we go. And that's my deer mask. Now, I need to make some small antlers. You don't have to make the antlers if you don't want to, because it is the bucks or the man deer that has small antlers. So if you don't want it to be man, you can leave it like that, that's absolutely fine. But I do quite like the antlers. So you need your other piece of paper and fold it completely in half. Alright? Just crease that edge. And it's like a book. In half like a book. And then fold it up and using that folded edge for the middle of your deer head, place it behind your deer mask, and with your pencil or pen you're going to make 3 little antlers between the middle of the top of the head and the ear. Okay, like that. Usually you'll need to cut that out, and because it's on a fold, you're cutting out 2 pieces at the same time, so that they're equal on each side. It's a bit fiddly to cut, so be careful of yourself. It's just above the camera so that you can see it now. And then pop them, you'll be popping them behind the deer like that. Isn't that nice? Okay, so now we're going to colour in. And I've speeded the film up for this part so that it doesn't take too long. And I would like you to use perhaps a light, very light, pale brown, ivory colour, buff colour, or I'm going to use a yellow for my antlers. And can you see that I'm colouring it in on top of a piece of scrap paper because it's quite fiddly because it's cut out already, and so it's quite fiddly to colour in. Now what you will want to do if you're using felt tip pens like I am, place it under something heavy afterwards so it keeps it flat, because the felt tip pen's quite wet, it will start making it curl a little bit. Oh, I'm just going to put a little bit of black fine liner around it so that you can see it a little bit better. You don't have to do this, but it just makes it stand out a bit better. Now, let's colour in the mask. And I would like you to use just 2 colours for this. You're going to use a light brown and a dark brown, or I'm using orange and brown. That's the 2 colours I'm using. So the orange is your lightest colour, and it's for the insides of your ears, the dots on your nose and your forehead, and it's for the sides of your face. And now the brown. I first of all coloured that in pencil. I didn't like it; it was too. So I found a brown felt tip, and so I'm colouring in the rest now with a brown felt tip pen. Those corners of the eyes too, and all around your little orange circles. You could have made your little orange circles bigger if you wanted. Mine are quite small, aren't they? There you go. Finished. I'm just going to use my black eyeliner and go round the eyes a little bit to make them a little bit stronger and prettier, really, almost. Make sure the eyelashes are noticeable. And then you can turn it over and turn the antlers over so that the colour is facing the right way, and sellotape it in 2 positions. So just get the position right in the first place. And you can just see the top of the head above the middle of the antlers. A piece of sellotape. Always have trouble with my sellotape. Hang on a minute. Where's the end? Okay. Just a piece of sellotape across that to keep it in position. Okay. Just cut a tiny bit of too much sellotape. Just take that out. There he is. Now you will need to turn him over again and get your face mask, and place the face mask down first, actually, so you're seeing the inside of it, and then place your mask over the top about halfway down, like that, and sellotape it into place. Now don't worry, you're not going to ruin your face mask, because the sellotape will come off. This is sort of, it's just for a photograph, or you can leave it as it is if you want. And there we have your deer with its face mask on. Now, could you photograph that flat for me to begin with? Flat on the surface, but then I want you to put it on and take a selfie, or ask somebody to take a picture of you, and that is what I want you to send me. So a flat picture of your mask without it being worn, and a picture of it being worn. Make sure you get his ears and his antlers in on the photograph, so don't chop anything off, because I'm going to use that photograph for our herd of deer. Isn't that fun? Okay, thank you so much for joining in. I hope you like your deer mask, and I hope you enjoyed making it, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.